Alright, so this is a very quick introduction to Blender 3.2. The first thing you should check when you open up Blender, and you should see a screen much like this, is in this splash screen you should see that the version is 3.2.0. And then if you click anywhere away from that screen, it'll bring you into this default scene, which has a couple things here. This is a camera, which we'll get to later. This is the default cube. And then this right here is the light in the scene. And you notice that those things are reflected in this object outliner here, and they live in this area called collection. And when I click on them, they turn orange in the scene. And the next thing you might wonder is, how do you rotate around the view in this 3D viewport? And it's a little bit different in Blender than in other 3D graphics programs. What you do is you actually press in the middle mouse button and drag, and then that moves your viewport camera around. And what you'll notice is that I have an add-on here called Screencast Keys, which will show you the mouse buttons and the keyboard shortcuts that I press as I'm doing things in Blender, so that'll help you follow along with the videos. So the next thing that you might be wondering is how to tell when you're looking at the front of an object. So in Blender, the easiest way to get to that is to click on this -Y in this widget here called a gizmo. And if you click -Y, you face the very front of the object, and you'll notice that you're in a view that has no 3D perspective on the object. It is an orthographic view. And you can switch back to the perspective view either by moving around the viewport camera with the middle mouse button, or by clicking on this perspective view switch here. And the other way to look around the view is by clicking around in this widget gizmo. And what you might do if you do that a bunch is you might get all turned around and not sure whether you're looking at the front of an object, the back of an object, whether you're right side up or upside down. So the easiest way to identify whether you're right side up or upside down is to look at this coordinate system here, and if Z is up and X is to the right, you are facing the front of the object and everything is right side up. And I tell all my students to do that the first day of class. Just memorize it, because every 3D software, the coordinate system may be slightly different. So with Blender, it's always Z is up and X is to the right, and you know you're facing the front of the object. So other things to look at first in the viewport here is how do you select and move an object? So in order to do that, it's also a little bit different in Blender, but it becomes intuitive once you get the hang of it. You click on an object, you press the G key, and you can grab it and move it around across the axes that you are currently looking at in the viewport. So if you were facing down, looking down on the object with the Z-axis, you can grab it and move it across X and Y without moving it along Z at all, which is really handy. To duplicate an object, you just click it, press the D key, Shift D, and you're able to duplicate an object. And if you notice, now we have cube, and now we have cube 001 in the object outliner. So Shift D again makes another copy of the object called cube 002. And the interesting thing here with Blender is that if I try to rename it to cube, it will automatically add that 002, because every object in the object outliner is unique in Blender. Names are unique identifiers, so that's just something important to keep in mind. So now we have three cubes, and we can look around the scene. And the next thing I'm going to show you is some very important customizations that I make to the viewport that make it a lot easier to get around in Blender. So I'll show you that in the next video.